What is up, residents of the Meister clan? This is your boy, the Six Meister Man, coming at y'all with that brand new video, and this is part 2 to What If Orochimaru wanted the Nine Tails instead. So, last part we left off with Orochimaru um, basically recruiting Naruto, and Naruto arrived at the hideout. So we're gonna flash back to the leaf with unconscious Sasuke with a giant fucking hole in his chest. Not like fucking open like dying hole, like indent on his chest from obviously a Rasengan, few broken ribs, um, ripped skin, blah blah blah. And Kakashi found him. He brought him back. And after a few days in the hospital, Sasuke was actually able to heal because it wasn't that bad because it was repairable, even though it was a heavy blow. Medic ninjas say it wasn't that bad, and he was able to get out within a week. And what he did immediately was request to be trained by Tsunade because he knows of the legend of the legendary Slug Princess being one of the strongest shinobi alive, and he needs her strength to be able to bring Naruto back. Tsunade, being inspired by the inspiration that Sasuke has to bring his friend back, decides to help him and says that he would have to first of all learn how to do medical ninjutsu so that he can have enough chakra control to be able to handle her lessons. Even though he has a high aptitude for ninjutsu, doesn't necessarily mean he has a high aptitude for chakra control, because most people with large chakra reserves have an aptitude towards ninjutsu, but not really to controlling chakra. So he's gonna have to work double as hard, and he will. But Sakura also a few days later asked the same thing, but Tsunade denied it because she already has a student, and until that student is passed, she cannot take on another student because as Hokage she is too busy. When Sakura asks who that student is, she says Sasuke. So what Sakura decides to do in another 2 weeks, when Jiraiya finally shows up and finds out that Naruto went off with Orochimaru, it is explained to Jiraiya that basically Sakura wants to go with him on his adventure to basically be able to be strong enough to bring Naruto back, because Jiraiya also at this point wants to bring Naruto back. He wants him back in the leaf where he belongs. So he agrees to take her on after a lot of convincing, and he didn't ever have one perverted thought in their first conversation, but that probably won't last long. So Sakura gets permission from Tsunade to basically go with Jiraiya, and I'ma go over Sakura and Sasuke's training first. So Sakura with Jiraiya learned how to do the Rasengan. Yes, she actually learned how to do the Rasengan, and she actually had an aptitude for lightning style. So yes, she has lightning style and is able to learn how to do the shadow clone jutsu, and actually learns about the shadow clone jutsu trick from Jiraiya because he wants to help her get stronger. Sorry for that giant sneeze. I'm not feeling so well and I'll probably sneeze again. So what happens is she gets the normal Rasengan and the giant Rasengan, but not the Odama Rasengan. She can has enough chakra control to do it in one hand, but for the giant Rasengan, she has to use a clone because it just takes a little more control than she has. He gives her the toad summoning, and yes, Naruto had broken his connections with the toad summoning, so Jiraiya couldn't reverse summon him and basically get him like that. So yeah, sorry, I'm a little sick. Um, so she actually starts learning how to add an elemental affinity onto that, because there is no Nine Tails training, and that's what took up most of Naruto's and Jiraiya's time, the Nine Tail training. And because Sakura doesn't have to do that, she can purely focus on skill. She also becomes really strong. Like, I'm not gonna be lying, my fam. She is probably stronger than Naruto would have been in canon, to be honest. She got the lightning style Rasengan, which is basically what Boruto did, that fucking invisible Rasengan that you can do, and Jiraiya fucking knows exactly what it is, so and he knows why it was that small when she started the elemental affinity training. And yes, she did some weird thing to learn her affinity. Um, she had the toad summoning, and she actually spent some time on Mount Nyoboku. And even though at first she was disgusted by the bugs they ate, she got used to it, the same as Naruto. And she actually started learning Sage Mode. Yes, she started learning Sage Mode. Do not talk to me about that shit. I will give my reasons why. She can do Sage Mode and actually bond with Ma and Pa, but because they're there for Jiraiya, and after Jiraiya is gone, they're gonna retire. What they have is they have Gamakichi and Gamatatsuku, or whatever his name is. I can't ever say the name. Gamatatsu. I can't say it. Sorry. They have them transform to almost how Ma and Pa are, so that they can basically link to Sakura and generate her chakra. But what she actually did is she has one of them. Um, she only needs one of them because of her small amount of chakra, and this could keep up for a solid 5 minutes before that single one can keep up generating enough nature energy. So what she does is, if ever needed, she can have one of them go big again, so that they can help her in a fight if ever needed. But most of the time, they're just there to generate nature energy, and they can actually um, use water, fire, and wind style, with Sakura being water, wind, fire, and earth style, with Sakura being able to use lightning, and was actually working on trying to open a second affiliation, but she wasn't really able. She learned the hair growth thing Jiraiya does, where he grows his hair and makes it hard as iron so that he doesn't take damage, and then shoots it out like Senbon. So her hair is actually a little grown out, not a lot, and her hair is kind of puffy. She got a new outfit, not the same in canon. Um, I might someday post a picture, like next part probably, about how she looks. And this is when she comes back to the village, and what happens is, when she and Jiraiya come back to the village, everyone's excited. Instead of Sakura standing down there and Naruto being on top of the pole, it's Sakura on top of the pole looking down. And yes, she has a toad headband almost like Jiraiya's, but it says Sakura, the Toad Mistress, on scribbled on it, because she did pick up some of Jiraiya's habits, and she's just as big as a pervert now. And yes, she did spy on some guys in the hot springs, and she got over her fangirl phase, not really caring about Sasuke. Yes, she still felt attracted to him, but if he didn't want her, she doesn't give a shit. So then Sasuke down there is just sitting looking, and then basically um, points them down and says, "Come down here." Sasuke basically doing that to Sakura. Sakura jumps down, looks around Sasuke. Sasuke actually wearing uh, a Jonin vest with black cargo pants and black shinobi sandals, with a black long sleeve shirt under it, with a black headband and the normal leaf protector. And he actually had something weird about him. On his chest, if his zip is low enough, you can actually see a diamond, which it actually currently was. And she asked him if that was some sort of weird hickey, because she's a pervert, as I said. And Sasuke just straight up says, "That's the first time I ever saw you not fangirl over me." And they have a little laugh, and Sakura says that even though she still kind of likes him, she doesn't really care anymore, because the only thing she's worried about currently is getting Naruto back. And Sakura once again just points to the thing and says, "Now, for serious, like, what the fuck is that?" And he's like, "Well, this is the thing I got from training with Tsunade. It's called the 100 Healings Technique, and it can actually amp your body to inhumane levels, to about the same strength as the 8th gate gives you. And it took a lot of time, meditation, and chakra to fucking form this thing. So back the fuck off." And she's like, okay, okay, don't be so touchy, my guy. And he also says that he learned a lot new jutsu. He learned something called the Purple Lightning. He first knew the Shidori and the Raikiri. Now him and Kakashi work together to create something called the Purple Lightning, which they actually taught to Konohamaru because he was when he became a genin, he was all like, I want a cool new jutsu to help me if I ever see Big Brother Naruto again. I want to bring him back, so please. And he basically begged and pleaded, and they agreed. And actually, Konohamaru showed up when they heard that Sakura's there. They said, "Hey, Big Sis Sakura, have you got any new information about Naruto yet?" And she's like, "Sadly not, Konohamaru." And he's like, "We'll get him next time." She's like, "Yeah, we'll get him next time. I heard you learned a new jutsu." And he says, "Yeah, I learned a jutsu called the Purple Lightning from Big Brother Sasuke." And he fucking just flares up his hand, and the purple lightning comes off. And actually, surprisingly, fucking, he did it perfectly. Like, it wasn't anything at all. And she's like, those clan kid reserves. And he's like, what do you mean clan kid reserves? And Sasuke actually chimes in and says, well, children from clans, because their parents are usually also from clans, have larger, usually Jonin level chakra supplies, which means they pass on better genes to their children, which means they are naturally born with bigger chakra reserves and more potential talent. Where you get someone like Sakura who comes from a civilian family with parents that had almost no chakra in the first place, so she had very low reserves and had to build her own reserves up. Konohamaru says, that's crazy. And how strong exactly are you? And Sakura looks over at Sasuke and grins and says, well, I'm able to defeat Lord Jiraiya in a one-on-one combat. And she actually calls him Pervy Sage, so she says, I actually beat Pervy Sage in one-on-one combat. And they're like, what? And she's like, yeah, he went Sage mode and all. And I was able to beat him because of my strategies. And she's like kind of playful in this one because that's how uh, the influence of Jiraiya around her became. So Jiraiya just thought of her as a semi-student. He didn't really like her as much as he liked Naruto, but he did have a very close relationship with Naruto and Sakura. So they were basically like his children, my guy. And Sasuke says, well, I'm able to take on Lady Tsunade and Kakashi and Might Guy all at the same time, so I think I would be able to win that fight. She says, well, you want to make that a bet? And he's like, yeah, I do. And Konohamaru chimes in and is like, Konohamaru, Oolong, and Nebi all chime in like, what new jutsu have you learned? Big Sister Sakura, and she's like, well, I learned this. And she shows them the Rasengan and says, I also know how to add lightning chakra to it. And then shrinks it down. And it's like, everyone's like, well, that's kind of useless. You just made it smaller. She's like, no, I made it better. And they're like, what do you mean? She chucks it towards the tree and it disappears. And they're like, ha, it didn't even last. At least that's what Sasuke said. Konohamaru just stared and a tree literally just fucking burst open and fell into multiple parts, and there was so much pressure that this tree actually shot up. So this is a better version of what Boruto does with his disappearing Rasengan. And yes, it is lightning style revealed to as I think the episode 166, I think, because that's the newest episode. I'm not sure, can't remember, but whatever. So Sasuke also remarks on how he wonders how strong Naruto's gotten, and Konohamaru wants to learn the Rasengan, and she's like, I'll teach you in due time, little Konohamaru. And he's like, don't call me little, I'm a Genin now. She's like, ooh, I see your headband. So you finally got rid of those goggles. And he's like, yeah. Then we just cut away to Naruto standing in the dark above the corpse of Orochimaru, with the 9 chakra tails flowing behind him, blazing red, without him being in his sage form or his curse mark state. He had killed Orochimaru. Along with him, he left, taking only what he needed. This has been it, y'all. Peace out. This has been 6. I hope y'all enjoyed. Um, hit the like, subscribe, comment down below what your favorite part of this series is. Um, check out my public Discord in the description. Uh, check out the channel for the avatars of the Meister Clan. Uh, check out my TikTok for early spoilers on new series. So yeah, peace out. Hope y'all enjoyed. This is a series inspired by YK anime. Check him out. He does What If too. Sorry for wasting your time. Peace.